afternoon, and good evening, everybody. We are here for another edition of What Caught My Eye. I am Stephen Komlo. With me is our not guest host, but our other host, Stephen the Boy Veschi. Stevie, how you doing, brother?
What up?
There we go.
Fight milk.
Notably absent from today is our good friend, the coach, Nick Veschi. Nick is out for this week, and I believe next week too, right?
Yes.
With the anticipation of the birth of his second son. So Nick, Jordan, good luck. We're thinking about you. We're praying for you. We love y'all. Can't wait to meet Veschi boy number 2. Veschi boy number 2. But yeah, so we got a good show for you guys tonight. We're going to be talking all things sports. As always, we're going to be talking baseball, college football, NFL. We start every show off the same way. We like to talk about the most eye-catching thing, what actually caught our eye. And today our what caught our eye is actually also our baseball segment. So thank you to our baseball sponsor, Bobo's Fine Chicken, down there in Virginia Beach off of Shore Drive near Chicks Beach. But yeah, so the most eye-catching thing, I mean, it has to be the championship series in baseball, right?
Yeah, we're down to essentially what it equates to the Final Four, right?
Yeah.
We're in the ALCS and NLCS. But getting there, I think that was such a fun Saturday for baseball. And by the way, they moved the game up for weather reasons, but it actually worked out perfectly that the Guardians Tigers. Okay. So elimination game, Guardians Tigers of the ALDS. Winner goes on to face the Yankees in the ALCS. But they actually moved that game up for impending weather, and it worked out perfectly that the game started at 1 o'clock because by the time the game finished, it led right into the epic college football day at 3:30. So it actually worked out great. But as far as eye-catching moments, that to me was such a great game, and seeing the who's going to win the Cy Young, Scooble, go out there, and he was dominating, and then all of a sudden got into a bit of a jam, hit Jose Ramirez to walk in the tying run, and then gives up the grand slam to Lane Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, a grand slam is epic. I don't think I've ever seen a grand slam in person. But like,
you might have. It's hard.
We have.
I don't know. I gotta think we probably have.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen our fair share like live on TV. That goes without saying. I mean, we watch a lot of baseball, but I don't think I've ever. If I have, I was so young and like didn't have an appreciation for it, so I wouldn't remember it.
Imagine a grand slam in the postseason. That, I mean, it wasn't the end of the game, but still gave you the go ahead to then you advance in the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, like a grand slam, awesome. A grand slam in the playoffs, incredible. A grand slam to go ahead in a playoff elimination game
against the AL Cy Young Award winner.
Yes, unreal. No, that has to be such an exclamation point. I mean, if you gotta want that ball back, right?
What a feeling. Yeah. I'm sure
would you be okay with a fan having that ball, or you try to throw him? You try to throw him maybe like a couple bucks, maybe a signed bat, jersey.
ALDS, I'm okay with the fan having it. You give me ALCS or World Series, I need that.
Dog, but who's to? I mean, like the circumstances around that ball. To have another one of those, right?
It's pretty rare. Yeah.
You have to get back to the playoffs, which is hard, especially in the landscape of baseball now. Like where, like for the first time in how many years do we have no team with 100 wins? Like the landscape of professional baseball is just so damn competitive, and on top of that, so A, get back to the playoffs. B, get the right matchup an elimination game against a Cy Young winning pitcher.
Yeah.
So like that goes like right up there with that video that we watched the other day about that lady who won the $1 million. Like you have to pick a player to hit a grand slam in a specific inning. Like, I feel like that's right up there. Like, that's so rare. I would want that ball
what was
back.
great, what was so great about that too, I was actually listening to the game on the drive back home, and I heard, Scooble hits Ramirez and they tie it. I'm like, oh man, like this is it. Like what a moment right now. And then Lane Thomas comes to play, and literally the announcer says he is a first ball hitter. And first pitch, he goes, "Here's the pitch," and you just hear the crack. Pop. And he's like deep left and gone, grand slam. Like, man, the announcer called it. Like, first ball hitter, Scooble's got to make a better pitch on that. But
that's also a crazy thing too. Is like to be labeled a first ball hitter.
Gotta be ready to hit. Gotta be. Yeah. Some guys are like I did this when I was playing club baseball. Like, changing your attitude of like when to go after pitches. Like, when I played in high school, I led off a lot, and it was like it was the traditionalist leadoff approach where you try to get on base any way you can, where you're taking as many pitches. You want your guys behind you to see what the pitcher has and to take those pitches. Yeah. When you bat fifth, like Lane Thomas is, that is such a prime spot to jump on pitches. And when you are ready to hit and to jump on pitches, sometimes that's the only time you're going to get a fastball in the pros. Mm-hmm. So for him to jump on, like, he's ready to hit, he's ready to go, and hit a grand slam, that's awesome. So I like first ball hitters. I think it's good. I think it's staying aggressive. I'm ever since I did, like, in high school doing that and then changed the approach in club baseball, like, I was able to hit a lot better.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm a huge fan. And you trust your hands to where if you get down in the count, right? You trust your body. So if you get down the count, like you miss that first pitch or whatever, you're down 0-1, and then maybe they paint something, you're down 0-2, you trust yourself to climb back into the count. So I'm a big fan of these guys that are aggressive first ball. I think Bregman's usually a first ball hitter. Altuve swings at everything, but Lane Thomas, I actually didn't know he was a first ball hitter until the announcer said it, and then bang.
He came from Washington, didn't he?
Yes, it was a great. I remember us in when the trade deadline happened, we highlighted a couple teams, and I said I love what Cleveland did because they didn't do much. They added a couple guys, and one of which was Lane Thomas, who fits their organization and fits their team so well. He's a great defender. He's got wheels. He can steal bases. He does little things, and then he's got this little pop, give you a big moment. I mean, what a trade acquisition, right?
Yeah, that's like immediate like justification, right? Like,
I mean, that's why you get them to make that postseason push. But Jeff Francoeur, who is, I don't know, do you remember Jeff Francoeur when he played?
No.
He played for the Braves.
Okay.
Nickname was Frenchie, but he's
nice.
He's the color analyst for that series.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying at the end of the series, which kind of stayed with me a little bit after that series, and it's something that maybe people have said before, but I maybe it didn't stick with me. But he said, if you're going to win a series in the postseason, you have to get to an ace or beat a closer. So, like, these closers are ridiculous, right? And you have to beat one of their aces. The Guardians just beat the best ace in base. I almost said best ace in baseball to go win the series. And actually, what's crazy too is that Detroit got to Cleveland's closer, who's the best closer in baseball, early. Or I think game 1 of the series, right? They hit that 3-run home run. But postseason baseball, I mean, what a fun time with this.
Yeah. I mean, so that's obviously how the NL got to where it is, right?
It was AL.
I'm sorry. That's how the AL got to where it is, right? Guardians beat Tigers, Yankees beat Royals. Here we are. Their first game is tonight, and for those of you that follow us, we typically record on Tuesdays, post on Wednesdays. Life happens, schedules change. Yeah. So here we are recording on a Monday. Game 1, Yankees Guardians tonight. Game 2 will happen tomorrow. So by the time this posts, games 1 and 2 will be done.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I kind of want to go back to Yankees Royals then, to like how we got here.
Sure.
The Royals, the bats went silent, right? All of it, and this is
quick.
Yeah, and we can look at the NL with the Padres bats going silent. This is what happens with these quote unquote high powered offenses. It is a different ball game in the postseason. Pitching wins, and
did the Royals bats ever really heat up? Because
they were in a zone.
They were not hitting against Baltimore.
When Pasquantino got back, he was their like catalyst basically. He basically, for reference, he drove in like 100 runs with only 19 home runs.
Yeah.
He was very good with runners in scoring position. And I think there's a graphic that was like when he's in the lineup, they're like 2 runs better. But yeah, I mean, they do have a great pitching staff too, but the Yankees literally just scratched enough runs across. But it's kind of fun. Like the Royals fan bases and all the people complaining about like New York biases on internet and everything. I mean, you just got shut up real quick.
I mean, that's small market bitching about big market, right? That's
every time. It's so annoying. Did you see that slide?
That's Billy Bean, baby.
It's just annoying. It's annoying. It's like you think the Yankees are the big bad evil empire, so they're not. They have like the 4th highest payroll. It's not. They're not dominating the payroll. Why don't you get mad at the Dodgers? If you're going to get mad at teams, get mad at the Dodgers and get mad at the Mets, right? We think the Mets are an underdog team. They have the 2nd highest payroll.
Yeah, because they sold the farm last year.
Yeah, and Padres had a huge payroll too. Yeah, exactly. You got to buy. By the way, these teams can do it. Yeah. They have money. They can do it. They choose not to do it, and that's I think what bothers fan bases so much. I mean, the Royals will be back there.
You mean ownership?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's where the money comes from, baby. All right, so Yankees Royals, how we got here? How we got to Yankees Guardians?
Pasquantino. I mean, he basically had a broken thumb coming back. So he was.
I gotta digress one more time about Pasquantino. Did you see in the O series where they talked about his axe handle bat?
No.
So most bats have like the circular knob at the end. The Pasquantino's looks like a wood chopping axe where it's curved at the end. It looks like Glamdring, Gandalf's sword or something like that. Like it's like
Gandalf.
Yeah, catering to all markets here, which also probably isn't a great comparison because Gandalf doesn't have it. Never mind. But he has a non-traditional knob at the end of his bat, and it's shaped like an axe handle. And they said that like since he switched to that, he said that like with his hand injury, he's not feeling like the vibrations of the bat as much as when he comes through balls. He says it's a lot more comfortable for him to come through. And since I saw that, I have seen so many like professional athletes that have weird axe handles on their like sporting equipment. I've seen them on lacrosse sticks now. I've seen them on putters. I've seen them on baseball and softball bats. It's crazy.
I wonder if that helps with the hamate bone.
Do you know that? That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, because a lot of the guys that get that hamate bone injury, they actually put their hand over the knob, so the knob's actually inside, like it's in their palm of their hand to get as much length on the bat as possible. And I've never understood this because it's got to be uncomfortable as shit to hit with, and they literally talk about how many times that will eventually lead to that broken bone, and that when that bone breaks, it's like crazy painful, and it's a huge like 8 to 10 week process to get back. It's a surgery, and it's really long to heal, and it's right in the palm of your lead hand. So I'm surprised more people don't have that axe handle, and I'm surprised so many people actually put the knob of the bat in the palm of their hand. I'd love to talk to like someone who.
So I mean, you obviously, I think you can like you're picking up what I'm putting down, but like this is essentially
right. Yep.
what the end of his bat looks like.
Yeah, it's a little tilted.
Which is crazy, right? Because like I'm thinking because then you're gonna be swinging the bat the same way every time. Like, do you think maybe you could like make some sort of like sweet spot adjustment on that bat now? Because like a regular bat, like it makes sense to have the sweet spot like right in the core of the bat, because like who knows how you're gonna pick it up and which way it's gonna be facing when you swing. But with an axe handle, you're always gonna have the bat facing the same way.
Well, the
right?
barrel,
it's always gonna be oriented. It's always gonna be oriented the same way from your body.
Yeah, I mean, once you get up to the barrel, like up the handle into the barrel, the barrel is still all the same.
Yeah.
But you have to pick that up the same. It's almost like your golf grip now. You have to pick it up the exact same way every single time.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's really easy. I'm sure I actually have never tried an axe handle bat. It'd be kind of cool.
I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, maybe there's isn't there like an indoor baseball simulator?
Yeah, up there in Loudon, right? It's like an X golf, but for like baseball, right?
I've always wanted to do it.
You and the bros just go up there and have your own like home run derby.
We need to do that. Maybe in the winter.
Heck yeah! Oh, I'm 100% in.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I will take zero convincing. I'm on board.
Hell
I'm sure
yeah.
Tess would want to go too. She would probably want to rip a couple dingers.
Crank the machine. Do they have machines? Crank the machine up to 90 again and see if I can
hit one. Yeah, right. I've seen some that do them differently. They never the ball never shoots towards you because there's nothing behind you. It either pops up or it even comes up on a tee, and it sits there on a tee.
I want a batting cage with a screen in the back. Like that's what I want.
Oh, you want some heat?
Yeah.
Then we got to go to that spot off of what's 28? That? Noakes Boulevard off 28, the batting cage and driving range. That's home ground right there. That's home field advantage. I grew up over there. I still have my magnetic key fob to get golf balls from there. Yeah,
I mean, I'm in.
Advantage.
I'll go. I don't know if the body can handle it now. I definitely can't hit 90. I can tell you that much.
You need to wear a helmet. 364 more days till next year's hockey tryouts. Gotta toughen up. All right, so we got Yankees Guardians starting tonight. Meanwhile, Dodgers Mets all tied up.
All tied up, yes.
Game 2 just concluded right before we started recording. I've seen this being billed, and I know it's only because his bat's gotten incredibly hot, but this is being billed as like Lindor versus Ohtani.
I love Lindor.
I do.
Ohtani's.
I don't think it's a good look to have it billed that way. I really don't.
Lindor's been phenomenal. He's their catalyst. He's the guy that makes everything go. If he's hot, I mean, literally yesterday. It was yesterday. Was the hot. Yeah. Well, the Dodgers won 9-0 yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And then the Dodgers actually went through this crazy stat: 32 consecutive scoreless innings that the Dodgers pitchers handed out. That is an MLB record in the postseason. 32 consecutive scoreless innings.
That's great.
And then lead off. Yes, you lead off today with Lindor. This is why he's the catalyst. He hits one 400 feet today to deposit it in the right field. And God, I love it when he's hitting a home run. He's just looking down like, yep, I'm supposed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Goes around the bases, comes back, and is like, all right, here we go.
And you said it really, really well. To swing back to New York tied 1-1 with the Dodgers, oh, you feel so good. New York.
You have to be feeling great. So the Dodgers, for context, today threw what's called a bullpen game. So basically, they're throwing out. They have their bullpen is readily available, like pretty much all their guys, because
Somebody's always warming up.
Yeah, because Flaherty yesterday went 7 innings, so they didn't really need to use their bullpen, and they won 9-0. So you don't have to do much there. It's very casual, right? So today they start with a bullpen game. So basically that means you're throwing out each of these guys is pitching 1 to 2 innings pretty much max. Unless they're hot, maybe you let them go 3. And maybe some of them don't even get through 1 if they're in trouble. But it's such a as the series progress, as you get into the deeper and deeper into the playoffs, the more you use your bullpen, the more the other team sees it. So it's a huge advantage in the beginning because these guys coming out of the bullpen all throw 100, all throw wicked stuff, right? It's just nasty. It's so hard to hit. But the more you see it, these guys are so good. The more you see it, the better they'll be at hitting it. They'll adjust, and the pitchers get tired, right? Well, they threw out a bullpen game today, and immediately within the first 2 innings, it's 6-0. And then the Mets basically essentially just held on. They won, I think, 7-3 today.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it kind of feels like you're almost resting. You're like, well, we got the 1-0 lead. We feel good. Let's see what happens with this bullpen game. If it goes well, we go 2-0 and we have everything ready when we get back, when we go to New York. But if things don't go well, it's still 1-1. We're fine. But if you're in New York, you take a road game, you gotta feel great.
Yeah. And now you get to come back to New York with your number 2 pitcher in the rotation getting to start, right? Instead of using 3 and 4 at home, you get to use 2 and 3, which is pretty big.
Who's the do we know the projected starter for Game 3?
I don't know. I haven't looked.
I'd like to look.
But but you got to think like the nice thing about that though is like if you're pitching 1, 2, maybe 3 innings, you got to think you stay away. I'd say regardless of whether they're hot or not, if you can prevent one of your bullpen guys from pitching 3 innings, do that because it's less times that way. Like you don't have to worry about the lineup turning over with a guy out there because I think that's probably where like a big advantage is going to come down if this goes down the stretch. If this goes 7 games, like yeah, they're going to have an advantage over certain guys that pitched longer because they might have gotten to see it pitch twice.
Yeah, that's why to me starters are still so valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you have a dominant starter in the postseason, and really what you need is 3, right? That's how almost all these teams win World Series. You have 3 starters that can give you length, and then you have 2 or 3 guys in the bullpen that are lights out, right? It's so hard to piece together six guys pitching in a game. If one of them, they basically what that means is that all of them have to be on. If one of them is off, you get a crooked number, right? It's so difficult, but it's kind of like the new wave, the new era of baseball that this is happening a lot. Analytics, yeah, it's stupid. You got to have a feel. You gotta have some sort of feel, and starting pitching matters. I'm gonna continue to say it throughout this postseason that if your starter can go deep into a game, it's so much better for you.
Did they say why they were going with a bullpen game? Was somebody like having tightness or something?
They've had so in the Dodgers' defense, they've had so many injuries to their starting staff that they're basically decimated, and then the length of that Padres series going 5 games and then leading right up into this one, they're probably not on enough rest. So now you get the day off, and then you come back another day. So you essentially got two more days to rest.
I also really like, and this isn't just baseball in general, I really like the way that like the championship series in baseball is formatted, where you get 1 game, 2 games, 1 game, 2 games. I really like that.
I loved it. The wild card,
where you get like no, I'm talking like right now, right?
Right now.
Yesterday we got the 1 game was Dodgers Mets. Today we get 2. Now tomorrow is just going to be Yankees Guardians, and then it's 2 again. I really like that.
Yeah, I think they've done a great job with these. I mean, I love the new format too with the wild card, having it be best of 3 instead of just the 1 game, and then going through. Yeah, and having
1 game was awful.
Yeah. By the way, how great did the MLB feel last night with Dodgers Mets, and your NFL game Sunday night was Cincinnati and New York Giants. Who the hell is watching that?
Nobody's putting that on.
Right.
Cincy
And then I think
teams
tonight, what's tonight? Bills, Patriots, or something? Or
no, Patriots lost to the Texans yesterday.
Who's tonight for NFL?
It's
Jets.
Bills-Jets.
Bills, Jets.
Yeah,
It's another
AFC,
game
AFC
God, I
East
don't care
matchup.
about at all.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, watch some postseason baseball, people.
Yeah, I mean, and you got to think like, there's no shot New York is turning the Giants on if they have a chance to watch the Mets or the Yankees right now.
I agree.
Right?
It's
that's your big draw. Is that the Giants suck, the Jets are but the Yankees and the Mets are in postseason with a chance to have a Subway Series for a World Series. Yeah.
New York's a baseball town, right? Wouldn't you say so?
They need to be. They need to be.
That's a baseball city over football. I mean, they don't have any college football.
Well, they need to be a baseball town because the Giants play in Jersey.
They both play in Jersey. They play the same stadium.
They both play in Jersey. Yeah, so they need to be a baseball town.
Yep, that's a good point.
And like, dude, that's gonna be crazy. I would want a Subway Series so bad. I think like that's the outcome I'm rooting for the most over.
I am too.
Yankees Dodgers. I want Mets Yankees.
I agree with you. I want the Subway Series. I know if you're MLB, you want Dodgers Yankees, right? You want Shohei versus Judge, the two biggest names, the two biggest markets, the biggest brands, and Shohei's international, right? If it's Dodgers Mets, you don't get international, or not Dodgers Mets, Yankees Mets, you don't get international. But yeah, I want Subway Series. I think there's just there's more passion. You turn on the LA game, it's all celebrities.
But like I think like the only way that MLB I think loses is if you get like
Mets Guardians.
Yeah, Mets Guardians. I think that's really the only way you lose, and even then you're still pulling New York. But like it's having the Dodgers in there is the mega win because then you get West Coast viewership.
Yes.
Right? West Coast people I don't think are going to tune in for East Coast games.
Yeah, I'm sure the West Coast people do not care about a Subway Series.
No, they do not. In fact, I'd imagine most of them would probably have to speculate on what that is.
Yeah.
You mean the tram car series? Is that like our tram car classic? Cable car classic?
Oh, I've told you the story about going to Yankee Stadium for the ALCS, right? 2017.
I don't think so. Refresh my memory.
So it was I keep wanting to say that. It was Astros Yankees game 5 of I believe it was game 5 of the ALCS. It was the last home game for the Yankees in that series.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my cousin went up because that was when I was living in Pennsylvania at the time, and he was back on fall break. So he was like, "Oh, you want to go up to the game?" And I was like, "Now?" He's like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Absolutely, let's do it." So we got a bus from Allentown to the big old city,
and
went to the Bronx and standing room only in the Budweiser party section. Loudest stadium I've ever been in.
That was old Yankee Stadium or new?
No, it's new Yankee Stadium.
That's right, because you were living in Pennsylvania. Okay.
Yeah, that was the loudest stadium I've ever been in. It was like, oh, New York postseason baseball is different. Like that's a different animal. And I've been in some loud football stadiums. I've been to Virginia Tech Stadium when they played Notre Dame. I've been in West Virginia Stadium when they played big time games. I've been in Notre Dame Stadium. The loudest stadium by far that I've ever been in was Yankee Stadium in the postseason.
Really?
Yeah. That I would, as far as like venues go and atmospheres go, I put that up against anything. I don't care. Like you can give me, Tennessee or Death Valley, LSU at night. I'll take Yankee Stadium in the postseason. I'll stand by that.
Whoa, that's crazy.
That might be a hot take, but
taking like the college atmosphere into account, like if you talk like Penn State whiteout, or like going down in the swamp, and
there's 100,000 people at those stadiums. There's about
that's a pretty like
50 at Yankee Stadium.
Take.
There's something so different. You're like, I mean, I guess you're still on top of each other with everything, but man, it's just so loud, and you're on the edge of your seat constantly, like you're standing the whole game,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not, you're not getting up to go get beers. You're standing there at the edge, and you're living and dying on every single pitch, every single thing that happens, and then you're having the Yankee fan next to you yell at Chase Henley for striking out.
Jesus. I think
even though he was like 3 for 5 in that game or something with like 2 RBIs when he had a strikeout, and they're like, God, you suck.
Short-term memory, baby. I think it was John Boy said it best. Like, and this was during like wild card, and he was like, "I know it's October, I know it's playoffs, but it doesn't feel like playoffs yet because I don't have that pit in my stomach. But once wild cards wrap up and I start having that pit, yeah, I'll know it's playoff baseball time."
God, I love playoff baseball.
It's so
John
good.
John Smoltz was talking about it in the NLDS with the Padres and the Dodgers, and I think that game ended 2-0. That game 5, and John Smoltz was like, I love these low scoring games because there is tension on every single pitch. Right? You start getting into a higher scoring game, like maybe the average fan wants to see more runs put up and more action on the bases, but in the postseason, those 1-0, 2-1, those low scoring games, you were on the edge of your seat with every pitch, and you were living and dying with every single pitch. And if it's just off the plate, you're booing, and then you're cheering for every little strike. It could be the first strike of a batter, and you're going nuts, right? That's postseason baseball, and that's what makes it so much fun.
I always like it when you're watching like some good like great, whether it's good baseball or playoff baseball or what, but I like the part of baseball that always like gets to me that I know pitchers have to hear is when fans start counting balls.
Oh, they did that in college. Who was that? Was that Tennessee maybe, or Florida
when they start counting balls, like that's like 6, 6, 6, 7, 7.
They've done that. Doesn't really happen with MLB. One, these pitchers are too good; they're not doing that.
Yeah.
But in college, in like College World Series, that happens. And I think it's one of the SEC schools, maybe Mississippi State. I forget who it was, but they were all over you if you start doing that. And poor, 19 to 22-year-old kid melting down out there.
Not built for the moment.
Not built for the moment, I see.
Anything else you want to touch on with baseball?
I don't think so. I think we recapped that. I think we're
Who you got for moving to the World Series? Let's wrap there.
So here's my philosophy on this.
Okay.
Do I have moving on here? I want to say give me the Mets, because I think Dave Roberts right now is too worried about what everything else is outside of what they're doing instead of what their team needs to be doing.
Sure.
I think it's just one of those things where it was such a high emotion in the Padres series that the Mets are just going to sneak in. They're hot. They're having fun, right? Give me the Mets. And I like the Guardians. I do. I mean, this is going to be MLB's worst nightmare, Mets Guardians. But Aaron Boone said something at the start of the postseason where he said,
"You're not a Boone fan."
I hate Boone. He sucks. But he said something where it was, you have to hit home runs in the postseason to win. And I was like, that's the biggest red flag I've ever heard in my life, because the teams that win World Series put the ball in play and put pressure on the pitcher, because like we said, everything's heightened in the postseason and there's so much pressure. You got one guy on base and all of a sudden that can lead to a crooked number and a huge inning. And Aaron Boone saying,
are so dangerous.
Aaron Boone saying we got to hit home runs. Well, look at what the pitching is so much better in the postseason. Look at what Judge does in the postseason, because he's a home run hitter. As great as Judge is, he has struggled in the postseason. His home run numbers are actually pretty good. He's at 13. But his average is like under 200, and his strikeout rate's the highest ever. Right? And speaking of which, I think Soto may have just hit a home run.
Yeah, it
did.
I believe it.
As we're doing it, Soto just hit a home run. But it's a solo shot. There's no one on base.
because Judge isn't on base ahead of him.
Judge is behind him. He is behind him.
Who is in front of Soto then?
Torres, Glaber.
Yeah. I
think as the series goes on, I just think the Guardians are going to do the little things correctly. They're also extremely good defensively.
Small ball team.
Yeah. I like what the Guardians do.
All right, so you have Guardians and Mets.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say this. I was gonna say the same thing. No, I was gonna pick the Guardians because I think we said it time and time and time again. The Yankees have leaned on Judge and leaned on Soto to just carry the load, right? I mean, another Lord of the Rings reference. They were your Samwise and Frodo, and and I just don't know that. Like, until I see differently, like, I can't depend on Judge in the postseason.
Stanton got hot for that DS series, right? Which they absolutely have to have.
Yes. He needs to start running.
He can't. He's physically unable to.
I know he's physically unable to, but, like, his, like, lack of hustle is costing them base runners.
Yes, it is. Yeah. If he hits anything on the ground with a man on base, it's a double play. But with some of these teams, someone in the back of the order needs to get hot.
Yes.
The Dodgers had Kike Hernandez. He got hot for that last series, and I think started off yesterday very well. But someone in the back end of the order that you don't know about needs to get hot, because this is what happens in the postseason. This is why heroes are made in the postseason. Like, who is it? Like a David Eckstein. Right, I know he was like a leadoff hitter.
We need a Volpe, or you need a Volpe. You need a LeMahieu.
Guardians need like a Rocchio.
Yes,
someone like that to get hot, to where, like, I mean, I always go back to the Nats because I paid attention so much to that World Series run because we're from there. Like Howie Kendrick, he was such a tough out, and just being such a tough out in the back of that order, all of a sudden then it turns over to the front. And now your big boys are eating, right?
Yes. It needs to be somebody that's either going to get hot or somebody that can just play super defensively at the plate and rack up the pitch count early.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody who has good plate vision and is just going to be like getting pieces and fouling some stuff off and getting the pitch count high. Like we talked about, like the bullpen game, right? We need get to the bullpen earlier. Force them to go to the well early. So Jesus, this is hard. I just really, really like Mookie. So I'm going Dodgers and I'm going Guardians. I'm going Dodgers Guardians for this one. Okay. Big Mookie Betts fan. I gotta go for Mookie. But
yeah, I do love Mookie.
That'll wrap it up for our Bobo's Fine Chicken and Baseball segment, as well as for What Caught Our Eye. Solid 38 minutes there, boy. Good job. And it's going to take us right into college football. Okay, so we got I picked out a couple games that I really, really liked.
Hit me with it
for college football. I mean, you got to go Army, right?
Yeah,
Army,
good.
Army getting another win, 44-10 over UAB.
God, UAB, by the way, they may be the worst team in the country. That's Trent. Still. That's Trent Dilfer's team.
But that's perfect, like trap game territory.
It is, right? But I mean, yes, they took care of business. And did you see that stiff arm the quarterback had? It
was so good. It was nasty.
That's God. I've watched that highlight so many times.
Just play it on a loop. That game really stuck out to me, and then the Purdue Illinois game that went to overtime. Oh,
so we've talked. That's amazing that those are the two games that stood out, because that's not where I was going at all with any of this.
Yeah.
But Purdue, we've talked about this before, where their team is god awful this year. I mean, they suck. Sorry, Boilermakers, you're on the basketball season.
You're a basketball school.
You're a basketball
school.
Let's
be honest.
Yeah. I mean, post Drew Brees, you've had tough sledding. But Purdue, one game a year. Purdue is like the best team in the country for some reason, and we kept looking at the schedule, like, who is it? I was thinking it was when Oregon plays them. I think they might play them next or in 2 weeks or something. And I was thinking it's that game, but I think it was this Illinois game where all of a sudden they just come alive for one game, and it makes no sense at all but Illinois survive in advance. You're ranked too. Like you need to survive
to survive in advance, right?
Yep, it's a conference game
by 1 point.
Right, yeah, it's a conference game. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you won a conference game.
And then like this game was plastered all over social media. Was Oregon Ohio State?
That was the game of the week.
Yeah, just the way that one ended. Yeah, Sweet D at College Game Day.
That was by the way, first time they ever let a bird make guest picks.
Sweet D, or Caitlin Olsen, for those of you that don't know from Always Sunny, was on College Game Day. It was awesome. Did you see the sign that popped up in the background that said like Sydney Sweeney, call me back?
Oh yeah, she
replied to it.
She replied to it.
Sorry, I changed my number. That was funny. But,
Sweet D also made a bird. She made a bird joke on like her first pick. It was Iowa. It was Iowa Washington, and she was like, "Iowa's a bird. Like it's the Hawkeyes, so I'm taking them." Oh hey D.
D, shut up. What do you want?
What, you look like a bird? Yeah, I was gonna say that. That was it. Tough. That would have been good.
You're Larry Bird. But yeah, just the way that game ended with the OSU quarterback sliding as the clock expires, and then just
Oh, by the way, Dan Lanning. So going into that game, or going through that game, getting to the end of it, because like everyone remembers right at the end of it, Will Howard sliding.
Mm-hmm.
But at Dan Lanning, the play before pulled a Bill Belichick. Okay. So what he did was he put 12 men on the field on defense, knowing it's going to be a penalty, but there's only 10 seconds left on the clock. It's only a 5-yard penalty, by the way.
And they were 3rd and 20.
Yeah, it was like 3rd and 25 or something, and they were too far back to where 5 yards wouldn't make a difference for a field goal. So there's 10 seconds on the clock. So instead of like risking them, throwing one down the middle of the field, getting like up and spiking it or whatever and kicking a field goal, he puts 12 men out there. Now I got 12 men to defend your 11, right? I got an extra defender out there. It's a 5-yard penalty, and by the way, the clock doesn't reset. It runs to that whatever that play was.
That's some 10 seconds Vrabel stuff, man.
Yep. So 10 seconds went to 6, and now there's no time left, and then QB slides and that ended the game. But that was, I'm sure that rule will change very quickly, but that was absolutely Belichickian.
It 100% was. Like, that's your like know the rules and know like the impact they have on the game and exploit them to your every possible advantage.
Yeah. It's not illegal. You might not like it, but it's not illegal.
OSU fans will be so pissed off about it, but like we've said this about countless other teams in the past, that isn't what lost you the game, right?
Correct. I mean, you
don't like it. If you don't like it, be 3rd and 5 at a minimum, right? Or just win the game, be winning at that point. And yeah, I thought that like that was all over. Like you hate to be an OSU fan at that moment because like that's just the way it ends, like the big brain of Oregon, the sliding as the clock hits 0, head in the hands. I mean, it's all just so meme worthy, and it's just and it's College Game Day, so it's just everywhere, right? You can't not see it. But yeah, so I think those are the games that really stuck out to me outside of your Coal Rush game. But if you're not ready to get to Coal Rush,
I'm not ready yet. Give me.
All right, then let's talk. Let's talk.
Let me go through a little bit. Let me go through a little bit of other games.
Yeah.
We'll start to it. Yeah, we'll lead up to it. We'll start in the Big 12. we'll lead up to it with the Big 12 teams.
Here we go.
Friday night, Arizona State pulled off an upset against Utah, and I remember saying this when Doug was on, the great Doug Howard, our guest that we've had on before.
Oh yeah.
He loves Utah because they're coach, and they're preseason ranked, I think like 12 or 13 or something. And I remember you asking me, which team on here do you think is rated too high? And I said Utah. I said, I don't understand.
You did say that. I do remember.
But then they beat Oklahoma State, and I said, and they're undefeated, beat Oklahoma State 2 weeks ago. I was like, maybe I was wrong. Maybe Doug was right. Maybe I should apologize to Utah. And then they immediately lost 2 straight and go, that makes more sense because Cam Rising gets hurt. He's out for the year again. This guy, and he's in fact eligible for his 8th year, which is stupid. Come on, we gotta be better. Can't let him play 8 years. Guy's a grown man. He's gonna be 25 or 26 or something.
What's he got to show for it?
He has a Pac-12 championship. He does have that. I think he might have a Rose Bowl. But I remember saying I don't understand why Utah's ranked so high, and then they dropped 2 to the Arizona schools. But Arizona State, though, they have a running back. If you haven't heard this name, Cam Scatabo.
Yes.
It's a great name.
Good name.
He's 5'11", 215 is what he's listed at. He feels bigger than 215. He feels like he's like 230. But, man, what a tough runner.
That's like some like Ray Rice like metrics.
Ray Rice is shorter.
Yeah.
This guy's
that's not really a vertically like excelling male. That's like average.
No, but a lot of running backs tend to be in that height range of like 5'9" to 6 feet.
So small.
But Scatabo, man, if you don't know the name, learn it. Go watch Arizona State because they play old school and they run the football. And they're 5-1 now. This is a team that I think was projected to either finish last or next to last in the Big 12.
Okay.
They're 5-1. They're a great story. BYU in the Big 12 continues to play great. They dismantled Arizona. If you didn't see it, because there was like a 10-15, I think, kickoff on Saturday night in Provo. But, man, they quietly going about their business.
Yeah, wasn't that like a 21 point win or something like that?
They won like 42-16, something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, BYU's tough. They're a tough team. And then we'll get to my Mountaineers losing to Iowa State. I might need to drink a little bit more bourbon.
Well, so like, while you like wet your whistle there, like, we've talked about it and I think we showed the uniforms last week or 2 weeks ago, the Coal Rush uniforms.
Yep.
Sick uniforms. Those are terrifying.
Oh, awesome.
Like, and like most teams, like when they like preview or debut a uniform, like it's usually like picture perfect settings, but like, God, imagine having like a Ray Lewis like face mask and visor with that uniform. It'd be terrifying to play.
But I want coal on my face.
Yeah.
For eye black. Like just crush coal.
Anything less would be like disingenuous. But like we said it earlier, like when we were on the phone talking about like how this was going to shake out tonight. I like, and you broke it down pretty well, but like I have a huge issue. Like you're debuting these badass uniforms at home, like but it's in front of a team that like you're going to struggle against.
So
I like as a fan, like, yes, as a fan, I would show up for that game and be excited because it's a home like Mountaineer football game, October night, brand new blackout uniforms. This I'm sure the stadium's electric, but like, how excited are you gonna be, right? Like,
well, you needed so. In West Virginia's defense, so going into this game, you needed a good quality opponent to give you primetime viewership. Iowa State came in ranked number 11. By the way, Iowa State was predicted to finish middle of the pack. We thought they were going to be good because they returned the most production in college football. We said this team's a dark horse to win the Big 12. Like I could easily see them winning it, but realistically they were 7-6 last year. So how good are they? So and then they've been playing great. And then so you need a team coming in that's playing well that will give you primetime viewership. That's why you need that. That's what made it a night game because they have 3 night games on the year. The first one was Albany in week 2. You're not going to debut your Coal Rush jerseys against Albany in week 2. As much as that's pretty much a guaranteed win, it's just you want that hype around it to kind of bring you over the top. That's also one of the biggest points too, is that you get that hype to bring you over the top to beat a team that maybe you shouldn't beat, right? And it's like
they looked pretty good in the first half.
Looked great to start the game, but All right, so I'm going to go through this one. So this one hurt West Virginia fans. I think it hurt me as a West Virginia fan more than the Pitt loss. And
Really?
yeah, and the reason being that Pitt loss was excruciating. It was, and it's because you were up 10 and it's the backyard brawl.
Backyard brawl.
But for me personally, I didn't grow up a West Virginia fan. Okay. Right. I knew about their team and I would watch them, watch the Pat Whites and Steve Slayton and watch that year and how fun that team was. But I wasn't, a West Virginia fan until I went to the school. And then it was like, okay, now you got to embrace it, right? You got to go all in on West Virginia, right? And then just the ode to the state. So when I got to West Virginia, they stopped the backyard brawl because we switched to the Big 12 and Pitt went to the ACC. So the backyard brawl ended up dying out for 10 years or whatever. So I never actually witnessed a backyard brawl. So I had nothing against Pitt when I went to that school, except that it's fun to say eat shit Pitt when Sweet Caroline plays. And for me, a bigger rival was Virginia Tech because all my friends went to Virginia Tech and I couldn't stand when they talked about football. And West Virginia actually holds the Black Diamond Trophy, which is cool, by the way. That's what Black Diamond is. But this one hurt more because it was an ode to the state. And it was an ode to the blue-collar workers of the state of West Virginia, the people that keep the lights on for the country.
Yeah.
And I think that's what hurt this game the most is like how awesome those jerseys were. The night game, they even had the coal miners come in on what's called their man trip. So if you're not familiar with what West Virginia does before the game, they do what's called the man trip, where they basically walk through the end of the tailgate zone on their way to the stadium, and they touch this big piece of coal that's right in front of the stadium. So everyone on the team goes through it, they touch the coal, and then they wave to the Children's Hospital. Very similar to what Iowa does at the end of their first quarter. But they actually invited real coal miners on their man trip with them. So they walked in with them like, this is so cool. Like, this is awesome to see. There was a drone show at halftime that was sick. But the game starts, and West Virginia actually picked up right where they left off against Oklahoma State. They went 12 plays, 75 yards right down the field and scored a touchdown. And it was, okay, we got some juice here. This place is jumping. Like, you got Iowa State on their heels. That's something Iowa State usually does. Yeah. And then West Virginia makes a stop. Iowa State missed a field goal. West Virginia then gets the ball and goes right down the field again. And then they drop a 3rd and 3, what would have been a first down. The receiver, as he's coming down, gets the ball poked out that no one saw until, like, the review happened. It was like, oh, he actually didn't come down with this. So they settle for a field goal attempt. It was a 37-yard field goal, and the kicker, who hadn't missed a field goal all year, yanks it. 3 plays later, 80 yards, right down the field, Iowa State ties it. So instead of being possibly 14-0 or at least 10-0, it's now 7-7. And all of a sudden that completely changed the game, and Iowa State just dominated from there on out. But it's extremely disappointing for West Virginia and West Virginia fans. But let's go to the flip side of it, and let's talk about how awesome Iowa State is.
Okay.
Right? Let's go to that, because I can talk about the negatives of West Virginia all day long. But let's talk about how great Iowa State was in this game and how great they've been all year. Basically, they have
put up some big numbers so far this year. Like, in terms of, like, scores, like, 43 against Baylor, 20 against Houston while shutting Houston out, 52 against AR State. Like, they've put up some massive numbers.
That win against Iowa, I think it was 2019, I believe. Right?
Yes, 2019, back in early September.
That game told me what I needed to know about Iowa State, because that game was in Iowa City. So it's in, like, Iowa Hawkeyes territory.
Sure.
So that's your cross state rival, right? It's a bitter rival, and basically Iowa State's pretty much been little bro to Iowa. for a long time, that's Iowa usually wins that game, right? And Iowa's always a physical team. They always run the football very well. They're always disciplined. They don't turn the ball over. They may not have a good offense, but they run the football and they play hard defense, and it's hard to score against them. And Iowa usually wins that game like 14 to 10 or something, right?
Yeah.
Iowa State coming back in that game and winning it told me this team's tough. And then they go into West Virginia. West Virginia had what Pro Football Focus is, which is PFF. They do a lot of metrics for college and NFL. They rated West Virginia's offensive line the best in the country. And West Virginia's offensive line played pretty well, but Iowa State, physical. And they stayed right with them. And they didn't let West Virginia get going on the ground. Previous week they ran for 389 yards. Iowa State did their job. They're disciplined in their defense. They're never in a bad spot. And they're extremely disciplined on offense, too. They run an NFL-style offense. They have you on their toes, balanced, can go under center, can go shotgun, can run, can pass. They have 2 wide receivers who are going to be in the NFL. Their quarterback is phenomenal, Rocco Becht. By the way, if you didn't know who Rocco Becht was, he is the son of West Virginia Hall of Fame tight end Anthony Becht.
Good genes.
Yeah, and he wanted to go to he actually wanted to go to West Virginia, but the way the recruiting process is, West Virginia got their guy before him. He wasn't a big recruit, and so he didn't have a spot on West Virginia's roster, it's kind of like when you look at that and you go, well, that's ridiculous to say, but when you get these guys out of high school, that's what happens.
Yeah.
So he goes to Iowa State. He is awesome. I'm saying this in the most complimentary way possible.
Sure.
He is a phenomenal game manager. And maybe game manager shouldn't be the correct term. Maybe we should make it game commander or something. Maybe field something general. Higher. Field general, something like that. But it's what you need to do as a quarterback to win games. He is accurate. He is smart. He makes the correct decision. He can run when he needs to run. And he's working his way down the field just methodically and knows exactly what he's doing before the play starts.
Okay.
He reminds me so much of Brock Purdy. And guess where Brock Purdy played?
Tell him.
Iowa State.
Bingo.
They're almost like similar stature too. It's pretty wild. They play their offense very similarly. Rocco Becht, awesome. But by the way, there's something else Iowa State did. They had a couple formations where they had 2 tight ends on the line at the end of the line of scrimmage on each side, and then 2 fullbacks in the backfield, and then a halfback who was like 230 pounds. And they said, we're running this deep I formation, and we're running right down your throat, down the middle. We're getting 3 or 4 yards, and we're scoring this touchdown. And they said, West Virginia, try and stop it. Couldn't stop it. They had at one point, they had a drive that was 17 plays, and it lasted 8.5 minutes. That's over half the quarter.
That's textbook game management. I mean, we saw comparing it to like pros, like we saw that's how Tom Brady beat Patrick Mahomes, right? Yeah. We're gonna dink and dunk all the way down the field just to eat this clock.
Stay ahead of the chains.
We're gonna keep your strength off the field.
Yeah, stay ahead of the chains. Don't do anything stupid. Make sure we get positive yards on every single play, and then 3rd and 3, when they think they can get a stop, you run that power I formation. You go right down their throat. You get 3 yards, and guess what? It's a first down, and it moves the chains, and you just ate up another 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And you just methodically do that, and it by far flustered Garrett Green, the quarterback for West Virginia. He threw 2 picks that were just horrendous. I don't even know what he was looking at. They're awful, and they were in pivotal moments where it was like, okay, there's still time to come back. There's still time to come back, and then the second pick happened. And you're like, that's it. There's nothing left because they're not giving you the ball.
Yeah, we're playing for consolations at this point.
Yeah, the Iowa State. That was one of those games where that was such little possessions, and you have to be perfect. And Iowa State is so well coached, so disciplined, and they have the quarterback to run everything. How important is it to have the correct quarterback? Like have in college football, quarterback play jumps off the page so much.
And it needs to.
And it shouldn't be as difficult as some of these guys are making it. When you watch Rocco Beck's play, he makes it look easy. Watch Quinn Ewers play, he makes it look easy. Shedeur Sanders, if he had an offensive line, I mean, when he is protected, he makes it look easy. Jalen Milroe makes it look easy. But like watching this, like when you're on time, you're accurate, and you know what you're doing before the play starts. I think that's what happens a lot with these college kids. And maybe I'm speaking out of turn, maybe, but it seems that they don't know where to go with the ball before the play starts.
Well, I mean, like, and if you watch like any of like the interviews or podcasts that have like old like quarterbacks we grew up watching on him, like I think it was Tom Brady who said that, like, you know, the NCAA is like they're for the quarterback position, they're slowly becoming like a less effective farm system for the NFL because it's no longer like guys who are comfortable being in the pocket and learning how to like learning the X's and O's of the game. It's we're going to snap the ball into the shotgun
and run a read option.
Yes, if your first read isn't there, if your second read isn't there, we're going to take off running. And like the game's evolved now. Like back when we were growing up watching football, we never really saw quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson, right? Like I think Lamar Jackson is probably the best comparison, right? Because
Lamar Jackson's unique. I mean, we had Vic.
Yeah, that's true. But like Vic, we knew was accurate from the pocket, right? Vic did have a pocket presence, but he was fast. But I think quarterbacks like him and like Lamar that are athletic can run a very quick 40 and get yards and like carry the game on their own is becoming more of the norm, right?
And that's why you're seeing bad quarterback play. Is because there's only those two guys who could do it. They're unicorns, right? They're physical freaks that are so good and so talented. And by the way, they can play from the pocket better than people think. But the only person right now in the NFL that's playing in the pocket and manipulating the pocket so well is Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And maybe Jaden Daniels will get to that point or someone else, but right now, I mean, we lost all those other guys, right? Yeah, we lost Brady, we lost Manning, we lost Breeze, we lost Rivers, we lost Roethlisberger.
Yeah, the guard has changed, and
the guard has changed, and it's become
not for the better.
No,
I don't think it's for the better.
These guys might be able to throw the ball like further, and they might be able to run faster. They might be able to do all that stuff, but at the end of the day, the quarterback position is about your mind. It's about making the correct decisions. It's about knowing where to go. Like the pre-snap reads are so unbelievably important, and half the college kids are just looking to the sideline. They go to snap the ball, and then they stop, and then they look to the sideline. They get a different play, and then they run it.
Well, and Tom Brady said it. He said it really, really well. I think it was either this week or maybe last week on that like prime like 4:00 game that he does on Fox, where you know he was talking about just that exact thing, and he's like seems less than impressed with it. That's for sure. Like with the quality of play, and like it's making the NFL like harder to watch. You know, I think we've talked about it on here where like, you know, paying your wide receivers, like what does that do?
Yeah.
Right? If you don't have a quality guy under center managing the game, like
can we even say under center at this point?
No, you can't. You can say behind center. Like what he was talking about, I'm pretty sure it was this week, was like he was talking oh god, what did he say? He phrased it so good. He was like just breaking down like what they should do. I think it was Lions Cowboys was that game.
Yeah.
And he was saying that he's like, you know, you're pulling out a lot of stops here, like if you're Detroit, like just going for these, like getting like the offensive lineman downfield to get a pass. He's like, but you know, like when you're leaning this heavy on trick plays on first down, you're limiting your options on second down. If you get tackled for a loss and you run the ball on second down, like, now what are you going to do? Right. And he's like, the Lions look great, right? The Lions are incredible this year. I'm all in on the Lions, but like the way that he breaks down a first down series, like first, second, and third down, it's great. It sounds just like Belichick when he's on Manningcast. Right. And like it's like stuff that is just so, it sounds so obvious when it's presented that way. But if you're honest with yourself, like most people aren't breaking it down that way.
It's because people want the flashy. They want the sexy, right? That's what they want. And you know what Brady wants? He wants to win a fucking game. Pardon my French. He wants to win a fucking game. And that's what people, and it happens. And I think it happens in college. I think people care so much about their stats. I think coaches care about their stats because I think it's part of the way they're judged. But if you play to win games and to manage the games properly and you end up winning them, your stats and everything will take care of it. It doesn't matter. Win your games. But when you, like Iowa State with Rocco Becht, they're running an NFL style offense where he's under center half the time. They're running the football. They're running play action. They've got their two receivers in matchup nightmares. He knows where to go with the ball. He's layering throws correctly. He's manipulating safeties. He can audible to a run. And you know what? That's a great play because that's the correct play. And they're staying ahead of the chains. And they're doing little things like that to, like, if someone said, like, oh, turn on Iowa State, like, well, why am I watching them? Like, the average fan will be like, well, why am I watching them? Because they play great football. That's why you're watching them.
100%. That's a way to bring it full circle there by bringing it back to Rocco Becht. Really, I mean, like, look at you go.
The Woodford's talking.
Revolutions. All right. Anything else college football? I mean, we kind of already dipped into the NFL, but before I wanted to check about college before we go whole hog into NFL.
No, I'm good. I'm good with college. I think there's some big matchups this weekend. I think it might be Georgia, Texas. Might be one of them.
Let's see.
Bama, Tennessee, Georgia, Texas.
Bama, Tennessee is happening. Georgia, Texas is happening.
Anybody in the Big 12? We have Kansas State at home.
Yeah, you guys have Kansas State. That'll be fun.
As Kansas State's another team that.
What LSU Arkansas? I feel like is going to be a good game.
I would agree with you. Arkansas is way better than people think, and LSU is not anything special.
I think LSU Arkansas is going to be a good game. I think Notre Dame Georgia Tech could also be a good game.
Let's see. Let's see. What are we looking at here? Iowa State gets UCF. Don't fall asleep because UCF can run the football, but Iowa State's to me too disciplined. That game's at home.
Navy gets Charlotte.
UVA goes at Clemson. By the way, they go at Clemson.
Last time I saw UVA play Clemson was Nick's 4th year 5th. And Clemson, I think, was up 48-3 at halftime, and I left, and I drove back to Radford.
I mean, Nick wasn't going to help you at that point.
That's the thing is I was with Nick for all of maybe an hour and a half because I was actually meeting my dad there. We had field passes. I got on the field.
Oh, really? That's sick.
Yeah, that was because the athletic director at the time was an old classmate of his.
That's right. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
so that was pretty cool.
UVA is more competitive this year. They're actually, you can watch that game and feel okay about yourself.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if you're a Who's fan.
Yeah, don't call them Cavaliers.
You learned that last week, sucker.
It's stupid. That's such a UVA thing to say too.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. No, we don't actually go by our nickname.
Yeah.
Carruthers.
Yeah.
Make sure to call us Who's or Wahoos. We don't actually go by our nickname.
It's the grounds.
The hippocampus. The hippogrounds.
All right, so
I'm good with college football.
NFL.
Yeah.
All right, so I mean, big thing here. Vikings continue to be 5-0. Sam Darnold, is he the real deal, or have they just had a soft intro to first 5 games? Who's to say?
No, he's the real deal. Their coach is so good. Did they have they had a bye week though?
Yeah, I don't think did they.
They had a bye week.
Yeah. So here's what I want to do. Instead of going through like the scores and all that, I didn't really watch a whole lot of NFL. Like I said, the Patriots suck, so it's hard for me to watch. I watched the Bears, or not the Bears. I watched the Lions and the Cowboys game just because I really really like the Lions right now. But so here's what I got. We have 8 teams that are, or 7 teams that are 4-2. Lions are 4-1. Let's talk about these 8 teams because I was thinking about this because
like like buyer or seller.
The Ravens are 4-2 and the Commanders are now 4-2, and I watched that game yesterday. And for those of you that didn't see, the Ravens beat the Commanders to improve to 4-2. Commanders lost to drop to 4-2, whatever. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, but the Commanders still seem like they're having a much better season.
Yes.
And so, like, I was thinking about, like, all these 4-2 or 4-win teams that I'm, like, either hot on or cold on. And so, like, here are the teams. It's the Ravens, Steelers, Commanders, Bears, Packers, Lions, 4-1, Falcons, and Bucks. Are all 4-2. And actually, this is the first time that in 5 weeks you have an entire division that's 4 wins or better. And that's the Packers, Bears, Lions, and Vikings.
So the NFC North.
Yeah.
Wow.
So first division to ever do 4 wins in 5 weeks.
Okay, so let's go through those teams and let's go through you buying or selling them.
So I ranked them. So Steelers I'm selling, and I'm selling them because and Adam Schefter I think said this on McAfee's show. Week after week after week, we're having the conversation: who's the starter this week? Who's the starter? Is it Fields or is it Wilson? Is it Fields or is it Wilson? And until like Tomlin can commit and say, this is my guy, this is who I'm rolling with, I feel like you're going to have a little bit of strife there. Healthy competition can be healthy, but I don't know. I feel like in this environment, like, security means a whole lot.
Well, yeah. I mean, here's the thing about the Steelers, though. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing record. They'll go 9-8, right, or 10-7.
Well, so that's the other reason why I'm selling them is because I'm buying the Ravens.
I would buy the
Ravens have. So, like, when I'm thinking buying or selling, I'm thinking playoff picture, right?
Yeah, I think the Steelers are probably going to make the playoffs, but they're not going to be a threat in the playoffs, right?
And that's so they'll get in probably as a wild. They'll probably get in as a wild card, but I think they're in and out, right? I think they dip their toe in and then they're out. I'm selling the Bears.
Yes, I agree with that.
Don't like the Bears.
I can't. It's at one point it's an organizational thing. I can't. You got to prove me something different, right? Like, you got to give me something different with the Bears. Like, until I see you win 10, 11 games. Yeah.
I said at the beginning of the season that the Bears were going to have a losing record, and like at work, if we don't want to bet money, we'll bet on-call push-ups. To where, like, if you and me, like, if I've lost 50 push-ups to you, like, at any point, you can be like, Komlo, give me 10. And whatever I'm doing, I got to stop doing and give you 10 push-ups.
You drop down, you give me 10.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, selling the Bears.
There's no ice in my lemonade, Blue.
Jesus Christ. I almost drank with my water bottle cap on.
All right, selling Bears. All right, next two.
Bucks.
I like the Baker Mayfield resurgence. They have a weak division, but I can't see them doing anything.
I'm selling the Bucks.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm selling the Bucks, and I think it's just because like we haven't seen like they're like Baker's doing awesome, like awesome. I love Baker Mayfield, but like the big names on that team, I feel like have not been big, right? Like Mike Evans hasn't really done anything.
Well, they're trying to take him away. He still makes the plays, but Chris Godwin's been fantastic.
Yeah.
They don't. They need a. They don't run the football the way they used to run the football. They did put up what 50 points in the last game or something.
Something like that.
They're so inconsistent. That's the biggest issue I have with them is that they'll drop 51 on New Orleans and then they'll play someone where you're like, oh, they're gonna do it again, right? They're playing someone that sucks. They're gonna be great, and then they'll lose and they'll put up like 10 points. You're like, what happened with this team? So
and that's the thing is that like in back-to-back weeks, you could see their ceiling and their floor.
Yeah.
Which is an issue, right? I mean, ideally, you don't ever see a team's rock bottom, but I feel like the Bucs, like, it could happen. Packers, selling the Packers.
Selling the Packers, huh?
Don't like them. And like,
you just got a feeling.
This is the crazy thing is that like I can't put my finger on what I don't like about them, and if I boil it down, I think it's honestly because I like the Lions and I like the Vikings.
So I agree. So it's
the other half. Yeah. So the other half of that division, I feel like I have to sell.
It's a good point.
Nope. I don't have an issue with the Packers as an organization. I don't have an issue with Jordan Love as a quarterback. I like Jordan Love, as I would go so far to say, like as a quarterback. I like the way he's come up, you know, because he had more of like a traditional like road to a starting quarterback, like what we're used to, right?
Mm-hmm.
You sit behind a legend until the reins get passed to you,
and he's been great since getting the reins, right? He got that
100%
experience.
No issues with Jordan Love, but I honestly just think it's because I love the Vikings and the Lions so much that I have to sell the Packers.
I would agree with you on that. There's nothing for me to say I don't like the Packers except for what you just said. Mm-hmm. Right? The two other teams in the division are just they feel like a better team.
Yeah. Falcons. I'm buying the Falcons. Buying the Falcons.
Yep.
Kirk D. Cousins. I mean, the dude doesn't stop. I've been high on Kirk since he was in DC.
Absolutely.
I love me some Kirk D. Cousins.
When he got drafted, that same draft as RG3, and people were like, I don't understand this. It's so stupid. And I was like, Kirk Cousins is going to end up playing. He's going to be the starter.
Block-headed Whitey. Like,
well, I remember him they beat Wisconsin that year, and that was the Russell Wilson year. And it was like, who's this guy in Michigan State? It's Kirk Cousins. Yeah. Kirk Cousins, he's just one of those, like, he's a great quarterback. And I love, Atlanta's got a favorable schedule. He's now getting into the groove and getting into the rhythm after that torn Achilles last year, where he's now getting that playing experience back, and now the game isn't going as fast. He admitted on Dan Patrick's show when he interviewed him that he admitted the first few games the game was going fast because he hadn't played in so long.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I think Kirk and that offense are just going to get better. They have a favorable schedule. I agree with you. Give me the Falcons.
I'm not going to say I'm all in on the Falcons, but I would buy the Falcons. I would buy stock in the Falcons right now. It's no mystery how I feel about them, but I'm all in on the Lions.
Yeah,
100% all in on the Lions. I don't know how you can't be.
So here's the only thing of how you can't be, and it's really unfortunate, and it's because Aiden Hutchinson just snapped his leg.
Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot.
He's their best defensive player, and he's a glue guy too. Like, he's not just your best defensive player; he's also your hype man. He's also your leader. He's so big in that, not even just on the defense, that entire team, right? You're gonna have to. I'm assuming they will be making a trade at one point for another defensive end to get you through this year and to go all in for a Super Bowl. I love this. I love that team too. But God, no Hutchinson.
God, it's gonna sting, but I feel like the shock of it, like everyone's in. Oh, they've had their bye week already too, right? Yeah, but like so, you got to think that like Dan Campbell is the kind of leader that's not gonna let anybody feel down about that.
Yeah,
right.
he's just
Dan
such an
Campbell's
impactful player, though.
Yeah, oh, 100%. No, there's no denying that. But like Dan Campbell, and I'm sure the Lions like front office has to know that like the window's closing, right?
Yeah, you don't get a long time unless you're Kansas City or the old New England Patriots. Your window is like 2 to 3 years at max.
Yes.
This is it. This is year 3, right?
The window's closing. Goff's getting up there
because and then you're gonna have to pay people.
You're gonna have to start paying people, and like the whole like, and in this day and age, finding people who will take smaller contracts for the sake of a better team is non-existent. Patrick Mahomes is probably the only one that's doing it.
He didn't exactly take a smaller contract. He's just
no, he didn't. No, he didn't.
He's a bargain at like 400 mil or whatever it is.
Yeah. Commanders, I'm buying them. But you want to talk about impactful injuries? They just had one. Who's the guy that just is listed out for the season because he tore his pec?
He
went down on Sunday. I can't remember his name. He's a big deal.
Oh, it's Jonathan Allen?
Yeah, that's who it was.
Dude, by the way, do you know where Jonathan Allen's from?
West by God, Virginia.
No, he went to Bama. But where he's actually originally from, he's from Ashburn.
Oh, did he go to Stonebridge?
He went to Stonebridge. I actually played against him in JV basketball.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, when you were like, what was 10th grade, playing against him on the other side. He wasn't like, when he went to Bama, he put on like 50 pounds of like weight.
Sure.
But because he actually played like a DN position at Stonebridge. He was so jacked and cut up as like a 15, 16-year-old, and you're like, who the hell is this guy? Like, I gotta go up against this guy. What are we doing?
Yeah. So that's gonna suck. But I mean, Jaden Daniels is the real deal. No one has been able to stop the connection between him and Terry McLaurin. And
Scary Terry.
That's the scary thing too, is that like, if you're a defense and you can't shut down wide receiver 1, you're in for a rough day. And so far, no one's really been able to shut him down. It's just teams, I think like the Ravens manage the game a little better.
They run the football better.
Yes. And that's going to be something that comes with experience for Jaden Daniels. But I like the Commanders. I highlighted what my brother said last week. Like, this could be the first time that I go to a Commanders game to watch the Commanders and not the away team.
Yep.
Right? I really, really like that. And then the Ravens, I'm buying the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm all in with Ravens. I need them to get over the hump, but I mean they built their team the way I want a team to be built.
100%.
Right, and then you just decide, let me add a Hall of Fame running back, Derrick Henry, who's just gonna punish you to close out games. I mean, what a finisher too, right? You want to finish a game, you hand the ball off to this guy, and he gets you a tough first down, and all of it, the difference between winning a game and then winning a game on offense and closing it out.
Yeah.
To then, oh shit, we gotta play defense and try to hold them to the field, whatever it is, and that, I mean, Derrick Henry is probably the difference between maybe 2 to 4 wins in a year, and maybe in the playoffs too.
I mean, anytime you have a running back who, like, if you're trying to like literally run the clock out, anytime you have a running back who can get yards after contact like a Derrick Henry can, it's terrifying as a defense.
Yes.
Like, you have to fight tooth and nail to get back in, and even then it might not be enough.
Right. That's what's demoralizing. When you get people, I don't think people understand that as much, as that when your defense gets, like, when someone can run the football against your defense, the mental wear on you is almost worse than the physical.
Yeah, because your defense is like, and your defense might not even be able to get substitutions in, depending on what the offense is doing. But like, your defense is just sitting there thinking, like, what the hell can we do?
There was
what can we do here?
Yeah, there was a Hall of Fame lineman that used to play for Washington's team.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the Hogs. They used to have what's called the Hogs, right?
Yeah.
When he got inducted into the Hall of Fame, I forget which player he was. But I'll never forget his quote when he got inducted. He said, "There is no better feeling in the world than moving a man from point A to point B against his will."
That's so good. Holy shit. Holy shit, that's really good. I like that.
That's why you run the football. Mm-hmm. It is a mental game too, right? Mm-hmm. You run the football, all of a sudden that D tackle that's never been pushed around in his life before starts getting pushed around. It's different.
Holy shit, that's a great quote.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? Badass.
That's pretty good. All right. Anything else, NFL?
No, I'm good.
All right, so let's do ahead and let's check in on some women's athletics, and that's gonna bring us to our Mimosa Minute, sponsored by Maine & Co. We're talking the Modern Mimosa here, people. Go ahead, go to their website, Mainsip. Mainsip.com. That's what it is. Mainsip.com. Go to mainsip.com. Order yourself some Modern Mimosas. Get them as a gift, as a bachelorette package, as a bridesmaids package. First-hand account. I definitely wouldn't endorse something I didn't love. I love me some Modern Mimosas.
I want to try. I mean, they got the lavender lemon. I do love some lavender lemon.
You really do.
Yeah,
you're
lavender
a sneaky lavender
awesome.
enjoyer.
It's great.
You're a sneaky lavender
enjoyer. Matcha martini intrigues me. You ever have matcha?
Sign up for that. I love matcha.
See, I don't know if I like matcha or not. It just kind of looks cool.
You ever had matcha green tea?
No.
Oh, it's delicious.
Yeah. Okay.
You have a newborn at home, so I'm gonna say when, not if. When you get sick,
yeah.
Get yourself some matcha green tea.
Green tea. Okay.
Incredible. But yeah, so Stevie and I talked before the show. So Mimosa Minute. It's got to be WNBA playoffs right now. We talked about it last week. We're in the finals now between the Minnesota Lynx and the New York Liberty. Series is tied up 1-1. The Lynx took game 1. Liberty took game 2 on the back of Brianna Stewart and a Miss Lainey Hamilton, putting up 20 and 21 points respectively. 2 games into the series, it's looking like this could go the distance.
Which is, by the way, it's a best of 5.
Yes, best of 5. Yeah, that's something to point out for our viewers. Because I think most people, like in the modern sports world, are probably used to like a 7-game series, but no, WNBA goes 5.
It goes 5. This is the last year. They're doing 5. They are moving to a 7-game series next year, and in the foreseeable future.
Good. I have a theory on that, but I don't want to say it.
I have a theory on that as well, but
what is it?
They now have the money to do it because Caitlin Clark's brought in so much viewership.
Bingo. And I was thinking that next year they think Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink are all going to be making deep postseason runs.
Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm coming from. But anyways, yes, Sabrina Ionescu, Brianna Stewart, and Ms. Lainey Hamilton are got the series all tied up. I think it swings back to Minnesota.
Yes, it is
tomorrow.
Yep, correct.
Yeah, so by the time this airs, Game 3 of it will have already happened. I'm kind of all in on the Liberty. I'm not gonna lie, I'm all in on the Liberty on this one.
You know what? Because of that, I'm gonna go Lynx. Great logo, by the way.
It's so good.
Minnesota teams.
Yeah.
Phenomenal logo. The Wild is my favorite logo in all of sports.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love that logo.
Oh, I'm on board with that one. 100%, dude. I love the Minnesota Wild's logo. It looks so good.
Wild, Wolves, by the way, great names for the Minnesota teams, too.
Really leaning into the wilderness, and I'm all about it.
Absolutely. Love it. That's why, give me Minnesota.
There you go. All right.
Because I think them winning that first game shocked people, right?
Yes.
And the way they won it. So, yeah, give me Minnesota. Let's have some fun.
All right, let's go. But that's going to do it for our Mimosa Minute. We're highlighting our WNBA Finals, Minnesota Lynx versus New York Liberty, Stevie's Lynx, and my Liberty. Game 3 will have, like I said, have already played by the time this airs, so we'll recap it next week. Probably games 3 and 4 if we're still going on there.
Game 5 if necessary.
Yeah, if necessary at this point, right? That's gonna take us right to our our favorites.
Yeah.
Right. Our favorites brought to you by One Legacy Title and Escrow, because your legacy matters. So our favorites this week is going to be our favorite postseasons, right? You came up with this one, right? This was the Stevie Veschi original. All right, walk us through the parameters.
So this is everything that you're basically playing for a championship, right? Mm-hmm. Everything outside of your regular season. It's postseason, but it's everything playing for a championship.
Perfect.
So this could be any sport, anything you want with that, as long as it's not the regular season.
Okay.
And all right, so I got the MLB postseason just kind of got me geared up for it. So I wanted to do this because we get recency biased a lot, where we go, oh, this is the best. It's the best postseason. Well, this is the best postseason.
The best, Jerry. The best.
The best. So I wanted to do this with the MLB going. So I'm going to start with my number 5 favorite postseason, and it's the World Baseball Classic.
Oh,
I love the World Baseball Classic.
Okay.
I thought, this like 2 years ago with Shohei going against Trout, I thought it was so good. The guys play for so much pride for their country. It's such a cool thing to see. It's something that's like, if you're a baseball fan, it's such a different level of baseball. Like it's so different than anything you've watched. And it's a sprint. It's very quick. The World Baseball Classic goes quick in baseball terms, at least.
Yeah. And
it's a lot of fun seeing these players play for their countries and how much intensity and pride they put into their country. Because this is something that happens. It's actually before the regular season starts. It's actually preseason, I guess. But they're playing for a championship. And it's something that these guys, that every star is out there, right? And they could very well get hurt and miss an entire regular season, but they don't care. So that's how important it is.
If you're counting World Baseball Classic, are we also counting things like the World Cup?
I would.
Okay. Let me do some rearranging while you continue.
Because I almost had the World Cup, but I decided against it because I wanted to showcase the World Baseball Classic. To me, I like it better because I'm not a big soccer fan.
Okay. I got some big rearranging to do.
Yeah.
Shit. Okay.
I'll move on. Yeah, I'll move on to number 4. College football playoff. We've had the 4-team playoff that we've seen the last about 9 years or so. Now we're going into 12. I'm really excited to see how this works. At the end of the day, it might just turn into the same 4 teams that we've always seen, but it gives more people hope. I'm a big college football fan. I think it's a lot of fun. It makes the regular season better as well. More teams are in it for longer. So I'm very interested to see that. The next 3 are all tried and true. I'm going in the 3 spot, MLB. I'm a huge fan of the MLB postseason, and it was tough for me not to move it up higher, but the next 2 are just too big. But MLB, to me, there's something about October baseball right when that calendar changes. It gets so much more intense, where you live and die on every single pitch. Fans for some of these games aren't sitting, right?
Yeah.
The entire game.
100%.
It's such a different game when you get into the postseason with baseball. There's 162 regular season games in baseball, where you get the dog days of summer. Sometimes there's people you're taking days off, you're throwing out so-and-so pitchers or whatever. You get into the postseason, all of a sudden that pitching rotation shrinks, the lineup shrinks, everything is so much more intense. You have one runner on, and it could be a rally, right? I love the MLB postseason. And then number 2, what I think is the most intense postseason there is the NHL.
Yes.
There is no layoff with that. Those guys are going balls to the wall 100 miles an hour constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And they're laying their body on the line and doing anything and everything they can to win a game. NHL postseason is different.
Yeah.
And then my number one, because I absolutely love this, and I've usually have people over at my house for the first weekend of this, and I always take off the first 2 days. March Madness. It is the most chaotic, insane, anything can happen first 2 days of a postseason. Yeah. There are games going on from noon till like 1 a.m. And that happens that happens Thursday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday.
My favorite my favorite part about doing March Madness at like your house, not just your house, like just your domicile, right? Because we did it obviously in the apartment too. But my favorite part about that is it's not just your map on the wall or the wall of brackets that we put up. My favorite is when we hit that turning point in the night where all of us are buzzed enough that we don't care about what's being said on any of the games, and we just play music over all of them, and it becomes like a standing room only social event where we got your tailgate playlist playing in the background, or like, and then as the games start ending and like there's nothing on behind it, the big TV gets switched to music
YouTube
videos.
Yep. Yeah, we set up three TVs, and then usually minimum. Minimum, because there's always that one or two games that overlap to make it that there's 4 going on at a time. So there's always at least 3 TVs, and then we have the map. I bought a map about 4 years ago now, which is a giant map of the United States, and it's a laminated map. And I take a dry erase marker. And as teams clinch their ticket, or punch their ticket is what they call it in college basketball, as they punch their ticket in championship week to get into the big dance, and on Selection Sunday, I go and I circle where the teams are, like in the geographical United States, I circle where those teams are, and I put where the regional matchups are and where the Final Four is, and then I X them off one by one as they continue through March Madness, and it's chaotic and it's amazing. I absolutely love it.
It's so good. It's so good. Oh man, that's a good list.
I'll hang up and listen.
Cool. All right. So for me, and I think you're gonna be able to tell like the theme with this is that like which ones I've had successes in. Like this is gonna be a heavy recency bias because like. So, honorable mention, MLB. I love baseball playoffs, but I haven't really gotten to, like, enjoy a whole October of baseball playoffs because the O's up until, like, last year, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's fun to watch, but I got no skin in the game late October, right? Yeah. Number 5, I'm going NFL. Big New England Patriots fan, big Tom Brady fan, big Bill Belichick fan. So I've enjoyed a lot of good NFL postseasons, and I think like NFL postseasons are fun just because you can have like it's very easy to get together and watch some football with the guys, right?
We did your birthday last year, right?
Yeah, we did like the Championship Sunday.
Championship Sundays
party. Yeah,
that's better than Super Bowl Sunday.
I agree, 100% agree. Number 4, since we're counting soccer, which technically doesn't have playoffs, I went with the UEFA Champions League. Okay, that was an addition. So, because I guess if you really think about it, this is kind of postseason, right? Because Champions League spots are only awarded to the top teams in their respective divisions, right? So, like Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal will get to play in the Champions League, right? PSG, so UEFA Champions League, and I love them just because, like, it's coming around when you start seeing the Heineken commercials. Roll the champions. Love it. I love me some Champions League. And like in true like typical like playoff fashion, like anything can happen in a Champions League game, right? Because they do play like 2-leg, like an away and a home game and an away game, with aggregate scoring, which is fun. So your team could, in theory, lose the second game but still advance, which I think is kind of fun. Number 3, I'm going March Madness. The vibes around March Madness are so much fun. We always have a good time every year.
We're gonna have to figure something out now with the baby.
We'll figure something out.
We'll figure something. I might send Kayla to like a hotel or something and be like, just enjoy it. Take the baby, go do some stuff, do whatever, and the house will be here hopefully.
That'd be crazy. Yeah, let me know how that conversation goes. Okay. Stay tuned, right, folks? When we start getting into April, May time, like
when we start getting towards St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, St. Patty's Day is a good time. Okay. Number 2. This was number 1, but then I had to really take a good, honest look. I'm going to go Stanley Cup playoffs at number 2.
Okay.
I typically it's very hard for me to miss a Stanley Cup playoff game.
I'm surprised you stuck with that too.
It was 1, but it got bumped after our conversation, so kind of spoiler alert for number 1. But I rarely miss postseason hockey games. But I think I always see most of the FIFA World Cup games. I'm usually like right there in it. I'll buy the EA Sports World Cup video games that come out. I love World Cup soccer. Number 1 FIFA World Cup.
It's the biggest event in the world, right?
Biggest event in the world. It's beyond the Super Bowl. It's up there with, I think there's one esport that is just as big as the FIFA World Cup, believe it or not. It's definitely as big as the Super Bowl, but I mean we can talk about that on a different day on a different podcast. But FIFA World Cup number 1, I can never get enough. Like I start gearing up, like I get the shakes when the World Cup comes around, and it's going to be in America this next time around. Dude,
when is it?
2026.
Okay.
Because we just had Euro Cup that happened. We just had the Euros. 2026 World Cup is going to be in North America, and I couldn't be more excited. I'm going to try I got to go to a Netherlands game. And I got to go to a U.S. men's national game. But yeah, that's my list. So that's our favorites list, brought to you by One Legacy Title and Escrow, because your legacy matters. Check them out for all your One Legacy Title and Escrow needs. All right. Any closing thoughts, statements, feelings before we wrap up here, boy?
No, let us know what we missed on our favorites. Let us know if you guys thought of something else, or if you thought maybe something else caught your eye. Maybe there was a bigger win in college football that you liked. Maybe there was an NFL thing. Whatever it is, we're not going to be able to get to everything. So let us know.
Yeah, for sure. We want to hear from you guys in the comments, right? If there's anything we missed, if you guys have any like hard takes or hot takes on anything, let us know. Put it in the comments. Send us a DM. We'd love to hear from you, right? We would love to get some fan engagement involved in the show. We'll give you a shout out, but don't forget to like and follow our videos and our social medias at WCME_sports. Like, comment, subscribe on the videos, rate our podcast on Spotify, and stay tuned. We might have some announcements coming in the near future about new venues to listen. So stay tuned. But thank y'all. We love you. We appreciate you. Take care. From the boys, Stephen Veschi, I'm Stephen Komlo.
Take care, Guatemala.
Take care, Guatemala. Nick, we miss you. Jordan, we love you. Take care, everybody.